Hey everyone, Spirited Drop from the back of a taxi, and it's been a bit of a hiatus off the Spirited Drops. I've been to Java on retreat, which has been fantastic. Some of you on my channels might have seen my reels. There were so many beautiful moments and poetry written and meditations and rituals, and it was just divine. So I'll report back on retreat and Java, but I'm sort of doing a bit of a catch-up on topics. So one of the drops that I dropped before I went on retreat was around an energy clearing of a home of a client who asked me to go into her home, and quite a few of you on either TikTok or YouTube said you wanted to know more about what actually happened. So it was a successful clearing, and I think that the way that it went about also has some really interesting information around how these things work. So I don't go in with one particular methodology for clearing until I can really sense what I'm dealing with. So I have a clearing kit which has different forms of sacred smoke. It's got different instruments that make noise. I've got different formats in my mind, but I first need to really feel into what's going on. And I shared with you in the first drop on my way there that my feeling was, even though this woman was having phenomenon in her home, like her dog was very unsettled, she has been very unwell and also has had a lot of pain in her body. Pictures have been dropping off walls, clocks have been stopping at certain times, lamps have been flickering. Now all of that is just juicy poltergeist movie stuff, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean there's an entity there. And my feeling was that that it was a build-up of kind of discordant, maybe angry psychic energy, and as it turned out it was. And that can still create phenomenon. And I think the compounding factor was that my client, when she engaged me, was really scared, and so fear compounds it, and fear can generate phenomenon too. If we're afraid enough about something and we're repetitively thinking about it, it can shift the atmosphere significantly. And so I arrived. Her dog was going crazy, and I think it's sort of by nature like that. It's a Singapore rescue dog, so very defensive of her, which is gorgeous. And I was new to the dog, but normally animals are quite calm in my company. And so what do? So I do a walkthrough. I do a walkthrough with all of my senses. I ask the client to point out where she senses where the energy might be different in frequency or where the phenomenon happened. I then spend some time and figure out what I'm doing as well and sensing it. So, and I sensed two hotspots. One was in the entrance hallway and one was in my client's bedroom, I sense it in my body. So it can either it feels different depending on what the energy is, but my hands can activate really quite radically with heat and vibration, or I may feel a dulling, like if it was a sound and I was walking through a hotspot, it'd be like bow, and go back up when I walk through it. So there's this sort of vibrational dullness. That's a bit hard to explain, but I feel it in my body. That's how I feel it. And she confirmed that they were the two areas where there was a phenomenon, and also interestingly in her bedroom, where I could sense there was a grid that cut across her bed. The Wi-Fi gets interrupted at that spot, so all of that's really telling of sort of like either discordant, disrupted energy in the place. And so it wasn't that difficult to move. I really felt that the windows needed to be opened, which she did. I did a very, very simple ritual. I used sound, I used Palo Santo. It's not, clearing is not, a kind of an angry, dismissive thing. For me, I like the frequency of it being a gentle command, like it's time to go now kind of thing, like you would like a neighbourhood kid who's hanging around in your house a bit too long and you just say, okay darling, it's time to go now, off you go. and we had immediate effect, and then we had some lagged effect as well. So the dog immediately, once we could feel it had moved, chilled out. Was fine when I went near it, curled up at his master's feet, his mistress's feet, but all the yapping, all the barking, all the running around, all of that just stopped, which is always a very good marker. My client herself had been dealing with like neck, upper vertebrae and shoulder pain, and that all lifted during the energy clearing as well, which was really cool. And there was generally a brighter feeling. In fact, you could say it even felt like the apartment had more light in it. But what my client found, and she messaged me later, was that there was still phenomenon going on, but it didn't feel, she wasn't scared of it, which was good, but that night the lights did flicker. And she also had the instinct to keep the windows open, you know, for longer. And I just told her to follow her instincts, and it's perfectly normal. Like if an energy clearing ritual dislodges energy that's kind of been baked into the atmosphere for a little while, it might spin around and cause some electrical, you know, sort of flickering here and there, but it usually dissipates within sort of about 48 hours, or at least in my observation, which it did. She has reported since just a marked difference in the feeling of the place, in the mood. Everything's functioning the way it should. She's sleeping okay. The dog's fine. The dog's probably the most marked difference. So that is the update on the energy clearing in the home. So there's some interesting stuff in there which I think is observable in most of the ones that I've done. And also just a reminder that not everything's an entity. I hear that a lot, and I just go, no, it's not. And because I think the danger with that is it comes with a whole stack of fear, and which perpetuates then the phenomenon and the feeling of darkness or whatever in the space, and it's not an entity. So they exist, but they're not very common. All right, my loves, I hope that's got you thinking, and I'll be back with more updates. I've got lots of stuff to share with you. Coming back to a spirited drop soon. All right, bye for now.